Good morning and welcome to 2025 at Toge Industries. We got little changes. We got a Drift Games banner now. And we are about to assemble the Mazworx sleeved 2.2 sr20 VET. I've been working behind the camera trying to prep everything. I've got everything for the block prepped. If you can see out here, we got the custom oil pan that I built with the trap doors in it. And then we've got the rear main housing, all the timing components, windage tray, and pickup tube. So the first step is I took the bracket off the back of the block, and we need to put that rear main housing on. I don't know if I'll put the rear main seal, probably, because I have it. Then we need to put the engine mount bracket on here, so we can put it on the engine stand. And then we can start working on it. I started to unwrap it, but I figured I'd do it on camera. Because, oh my god. Look at this thing. Wow. What a block. It's so clean. It's my water port, that's my oil port. Oh, look at that. I was looking to see if I needed to buy that, and it comes with the build. Originally this is plastic, and they sell a metal part to go in there. And you can see it's even Loctited in there. My camera, you can kind of see it. But so one of the things is they freeze plug, they tap and drill all your freeze plugs, every single one. I don't know if it's necessary, but they do it. And then you can see this has all been machined, but there's a groove right here that sits lower than the sleeve. So the sleeve will touch first. You can kind of see there's a little gap in there. This is so cool. I've never had a sleeved engine. There's plenty of oil in there. These are custom CP 10-to-1 compression pistons. 90 bore, which makes this the 2.2. Factory, it's a 86 bore, 86 stroke. Now it's 90 bore with 86 stroke. Okay, so I put the crank pulley bolt on there, and I put the wrench, and I mean, it turns pretty easily. So I can, like, the rings themselves are what's hitting the resistance. So that's top dead center right there. So we need to do that so we could get these keyways up top so I can put the gear on. We got all the timing components on there. Now we're ready for the oil pump. Mazworx did the proper thing, and they actually installed this oil pump and machined it on the block when they machined the block down, so that they're the perfect height. That way you don't leak right there. And if anyone needs to know, this is the part number for a VE oil pump. One thing I did almost forget is you have an O-ring for your oil pump, so make sure you put that on before you put your oil pump on, because there is no room here. It is made still to put just a little silicone around it, so you should do that. This thing's so pretty. Look brand new bolts, but they're not. But the windage tray is on, and now we're going to put the pickup tube on. If any of you guys want to know, this is all the OEM gaskets I've been using. It's an actual Nissan sr20 VET part number, and it's a full gasket set. Comes with all the rubber gaskets, even valve stem seals, turbo gaskets, all the copper seals, and all the other gaskets that you need for assembling the engine. I love how fast it turns into a rear-wheel drive engine. Cut the pan, make it look like that, and it's all of a sudden a rear-wheel drive block. So, I don't know how much of the GoPro I'm using, but I kind of panicked because if you look, it gets narrower the further you go back, and I had to put studs in those last two holes, and thankfully I had two studs that worked, but we've got it all tight. I've got a bunch of just gasket shit hanging out. I think I'm gonna smooth it out real fast. I don't know, normally I just leave it, but the front kind of looks janky, so I may smooth out the front. I don't know, but the head is next. So we need to copper spray the head gasket. And I put the head on first, then put the head studs in. But normally the dowels are on the block, and there's no dowels in the block right now. So I've got to look at the head. The head is also flat. So I have no dowels, and they did not give me any dowels. So, oh, I lied. Two dowels are right there. So we need to install those dowels in the block. So install the dowels, copper spray the head gasket, put the head gasket on, and then drop the head on. Got the dowels in. So when they pulled it, it deformed them a little bit. So I put the deformed side bottom. That way it would reform itself, and then I would have a circle for the head to go in. And then this, my friends, is an Apexy Mazworx collab, where it's very specific. It's for Mazworx 2.2 sleeved block. So, it is a VE as well. So, like I said before, same black stuff that's on the other metal stuff, but I just like copper spraying all of it. So you can also tell it's made for a different oil pump, or a different head or something. A different block, my bad. I don't know, because that would be a VE oil pump. I don't know why the hole's there. Why this hole would be there. Maybe just their punch. But, this doesn't look like the right gasket. That's fun. Thankfully, I had the other head gasket. This is a pure OEM VET head gasket. And if you look, you can see it protrudes into the bore, so that's why you can't run it. Literally, the piston would come up and tap the head gasket every time. But you look, I think I am correct. This is made for their DET and VE 90 mil bores. So it's made to have a DET pump on there, or a DE head, I mean, and a pump, honestly, because, you know, but the DET, it comes in like this with 2 bolts on the inside, different than the VE head. Plus the drain backs are here that are eliminated on the VE head. So this must be for a DET setup without a VE head and with a VE head. So it looks to me like this will still seal. Like, that's all we're doing. You can see the gray part is where it would have actually sealed. Right here. Then, hell, yeah, they even machined a little deal in there. I don't know what that is, but that's cool. But anyway, I'm 100% certain this will still work. So we're gonna go ahead with the plan. Scared me for a second. Then I was like, well, should I wait for Mazworx and email them? But the 2 spots I'm worried about are this, and the OEM gasket just seals right here. So there shouldn't be any issue. So let's copper spray it and continue. Well, as you can see, I picked a perfect angle to set the GoPro, and you guys can't see how much I'm struggling to put the chain through the front of the head. But I ended up getting it by myself and persevered. As you can see in the time lapse, I had a hell of a time getting this thing on. I couldn't, with just me, it was really hard to get the chain and the head on. So first step of the cam install is to install our little shims for our rocker arms. So thankfully Mazworx did a good job of labeling everything, so we just need to cut each one and install it. Got the cams just placed in there. I've got my assembly lube. It seems to be industry standard to use this stuff, so you can just, there's the part number. You can get it at O'Reilly's or any of those stores. Just clean the cam gears, and this is where I'm going to need to install this bolt on the exhaust side. The kit wants you to take out the dowel on the exhaust side, but yeah, good luck with that. I feel like these get torqued to 40, I don't even remember what it is, 40, 50 foot-pounds. A steel bolt going onto an aluminum, bolting onto steel, the aluminum's going to crush enough that it shouldn't ever spin. So I'll show you exactly, because this wheel goes in front of your cam gear, and they give you a bigger dowel to fit through the OEM dowel to get this to sit. But this really doesn't need a dowel. I mean, some factory crank pulleys don't even have dowels to pull belts and shit. So a static gear spinning, you don't need the dowel. I get it. I appreciate them sending it in the kit, but it is impossible to take that out. And I didn't want to ruin it or ruin my cam. So Mazworx thoroughly cleaned everything, and it really looks like they redid all my cylinder cam caps, because the cam caps look like they've been finished, and all my cams do. So it looked like a brand new cam. You can see there's a little wear on this normal lobe, but everything else looks good. So yeah, I'm gonna put these on and I gotta install this wheel. So here it is, fully assembled. I have the old crank pulley on there to show me top dead center. So you can see where I would say 95, 99%. It's the center of it is just, I would say right there. Anyway, so sometimes when you're timing these, normally you just put the dot to the mark. I've rotated the engine, that's why it doesn't match right now. But it's the mark on the crank pulley, mark on the cam, mark on the cam, and then you just pop the tensioner. The problem is when you're adjusting these to get close to the right spot and you haven't tensioned this yet, the chain can slip either on your crank or on either cam, and you can't really see if it skips a tooth on the crank. So Mazworx, the builder of the engine, also sells this little, I would say just double checker. Here's Mazworx, if you guys don't know. But this thing's $15. It's cheap as shit, so it's definitely worth buying. And so basically what I want to do is just verify. So this is intake cam, exhaust cam, and this is where your dot should be. So we're going to take this out of the package, and you just put it behind the cam, or maybe even in front, and double check that your dot is the same. Now, you can barely see the dot, but it's in the middle of this chain, and we can confirm this dot's in the middle of that chain. So they're the same, we just need to verify that they're correct and not one off. It's made out of aluminum, so just be careful not to bend it. And here is the moment of truth. So it just sits on the head, and you can tell I'm not timed. I'm a tooth and a half off. So that's why we buy this, because this looks timed, but I'm actually a tooth off, which I don't know degree wise, but that's quite a bit. That would definitely cause some issues. So we got to pop this tensioner off, and then that will give us enough slack to move both of these cams, and then we just put the tensioner back on. Just wanted to show how easy this is real fast. So with the guide gone, took that off, you could actually put that aluminum piece on top, and I already moved both of them to match the OEM mark, because I guess the chain did slip on the crank. But you can see that matches up, so we've got the right amount of chain links from here to here. But we need to roll this over, which is good because we always want our slack on the side of the tensioner. So this is the tensioner, and you don't have to be scared to repop it. You just hold this tab back and push this back in, and then I'll show you how to pop it. But we've got it, so I'm going to put the tensioner in, and then I'll rotate this cam gear and then release the tensioner. Okay. So I got the top guide on. I like to put this on because this chain can't slip off when this is already on. Or it's harder, let's say. I don't want to say can't. But the slack is out. I've got the tensioner in, but it's not actually tensioned. Just to double check. That's where it's supposed to be. This one's kind of harder to see, but you can clearly see. It's where it's supposed to be. That's where this is supposed to be. And now, I like to take a pry bar, and there's the guide down here. Let me turn on the light. You see that guide, the chain? You want to press left of the screen with the pry bar. And if you look right there, that dropped off. And now it's self-tensioned. This is a VET tensioner. It actually has more teeth. So it's a better tensioner than a DET tensioner. I was debating on going to manual, but this, I think this will do us just fine. But it tensioned, but I still like to kind of pull on all these gears to get it exactly where it needs to be. But it won't slip or anything like that. So the engine is timed. Like I said, we have the dummy crank pulley in. This is the real deal in here. Little super dampener pulley. And I need to put on the bolts because it's two-piece, but it will sit here instead and make this block look way better than that. And then once I fully install that, that's when I'll turn the crank back and forth to get that slack onto this side of the chain and probably rotate the engine a couple more times. But this is where we're going to leave the video, guys. So this is now a long block sr20 VET sleeve 2.2.